Cinema thrives on control, every line rehearsed, every shot designed, every shadow deliberate. Yet, sometimes, a film captures something that no one meant to record, something unscripted, something unexplainable, not a blooper, not a trick of editing, but a moment that simply wasn't supposed to be there. They happen quietly in the corner of a frame, behind a door, inside a reflection, things unnoticed until years later, when someone pauses a scene and realizes, that wasn't part of the movie. Directors deny it, editors can't find it, actors swear they saw nothing on set, but somehow, these fragments remain embedded deep within the film, surviving every remaster and restoration, as if the reel itself refused to let them go. Sometimes it's just a flicker, a figure standing still, a shadow that moves when no one should be moving. Sometimes it's something more deliberate, more aware. They're the moments that make you rewind, the ones that make you pause the screen and wonder whether the film caught something that wasn't acting at all. Tonight, we're not looking at movie mistakes. We're looking at the moments that weren't meant to exist. 15 times the camera captured something no one remembered filming. 15 background events that defied scripts, schedules, and explanations. Because once the camera starts rolling, it doesn't choose what to see. It just records what's really there. Cloverfield, 2008. Found footage was meant to feel authentic. Maybe it was. Before the destruction begins, the movie opens with quiet two lovers recording a day at Coney Island. In the subway car, their reflection shimmers in the glass, but between them, in the window's glare, another face appears. It's faint, expressionless, too close to the glass. Neither actor noticed it during filming. The reflection doesn't line up with their movements. In later versions, it disappears entirely. Matt Reeves called it a lighting error, but lighting technicians confirmed no reflection could have formed at that angle. It's just one frame. But once seen, it feels deliberate, as if the camera noticed something waiting to be seen. Maybe the footage was never found. Maybe it was meant to be. The Ring, 2002. Sometimes, the cursed footage isn't just in the VHS tape. In one scene, Rachel Keller watches the cursed tape in slow motion. We're shown flickering images, static, and unnatural motion. But between frames, buried in the flicker, is something that never made it into the script. Pause at the 0 hours 13 minutes and 9 seconds mark. A pale face, mouth open, eyes black, not Samara flashes for less than a frame, reflected in the TV screen. Some believe it's a crew member accidentally caught in the monitor's glare. Others insist it doesn't resemble anyone on set. Gore Verbinski denied inserting subliminal images outside of what's shown in the main cursed tape. But in the DVD commentary, one sound engineer whispers, "That frame, it wasn't in the render log." Multiple viewers have claimed the figure flickers in different locations, depending on which format of the film they watch: theatrical, DVD, streaming. What if the real curse wasn't inside the tape, but hiding in the film itself? The Shining, 1980. Every frame was intentional, which makes this one harder to explain. Danny rides his tricycle through the empty corridors of the Overlook Hotel. The wheels shift softly from carpet to tile, echoing into silence. Then, in a single frame, something flashes a bare leg, half in darkness, just behind the corner. It's quick enough to miss, but too clear to ignore. The Steadicam operator swore no one else was in the hallway. Kubrick's team, known for precision, couldn't account for it. The figure doesn't belong to any cast or crew member on record. In later versions, the frame seems cropped tighter as if to erase the mistake, yet the original still exists, and the leg remains. In a film about ghosts, maybe one appeared where even the director didn't expect it. Eyes Wide Shut, 1999. Kubrick designed everything except for what appeared on its own. The masked ball is symmetrical, precise, drenched in red and gold. Every motion rehearsed, every light calculated. But as the camera pans across the room, a shadow drifts along the far wall. Too tall, too slow, detached from the movement of anyone in the scene. Lighting technicians claimed it couldn't happen, the angles made it impossible. The cast said no one was standing there, yet the shape moves independently, then fades as if slipping behind the lens itself. Kubrick, who reshot entire scenes over a misplaced prop, never mentioned it. In a film about secrets and control, one ghost refused direction. Don Niedarko 2001. The mystery wasn't just in the story, it was hiding in the frame. The camera sweeps across a field. Donnie and his friends are laughing, mid-conversation. In the background, near the tree line, something crawls across the grass, low, human-shaped, moving with strange rhythm. When slowed down, its limbs bend wrong, too deliberate to be an animal, too unnatural to be a person. Richard Kelly denied noticing anything unusual. No crew member claimed the movement. For years, fans tried to recreate the sequence, but the shape only appears in one version, the original print. It's as if the negative itself changed afterward. A movie about time distortion and one moment that doesn't seem to belong to any timeline at all. Hereditary, 2018. Some things in this family were passed down. Others appeared uninvited. Peter sits in class, sunlight flickering through the windows. Behind him, through the glass door, something faintly human stands still. It doesn't move. It doesn't belong. When asked, Ari Aster called it an illusion created by reflection. But the cinematographer insisted the shot was controlled. No one else was there. No reflective surface existed in that position. During reshoots, the same outline appeared again, identical, unmoving. The figure doesn't appear in the script. It's not on the call sheet, but it's in the footage watching, faint, barely visible. In a film about inheritance and haunting, maybe the camera inherited something of its own. Children of Men, 2006. Order and chaos shared the same frame, and something slipped between them. Cuarón's long take through the war zone is famous for precision, every movement planned, every cue timed. But in one brief moment, amid the smoke and panic, a figure stands motionless on an upper floor. It's holding something bright, a phone, maybe glowing faintly blue. It doesn't move as explosions go off below. The crew insists no one was positioned there. The location was sealed. The camera operator recalls seeing nothing. And yet, frame by frame, the figure is clear human, watching, vanishing 1 second later. When asked, Cuarón's only response was, "If it's there, it's not ours." In a story about humanity's extinction, maybe one survivor wasn't part of the cast. The Exorcist 3, 1990. The film didn't need another ghost. It found one anyway. A nurse sits at her desk. Behind her, a hallway stretches into darkness. For a few seconds, everything is still, then a shape crosses the frame. The stride is jerky, wrong, like a puppet on invisible string. No sound accompanies it. No one in the scene reacts. The director later swore the hallway was locked during shooting. The schedule lists no extras that day. Most dismissed it as a compression error until high-quality footage revealed that the figure's reflection briefly appears on the floor. That means it was there, in front of the camera. A film about possession, and one shot that feels like it filmed its own. The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, 2001. Perfection leaves no room for accidents, yet one appeared anyway. In Rivendell, Frodo lies in recovery, bathed in golden light. The camera pans softly through the corridor, and for a fraction of a second, a cloaked figure walks past the far archway. Smooth, silent, too graceful to be a mistake. The studio later claimed it was a crew member. Weta Workshop denied ever creating a robe of that color or cut. The mysterious figure doesn't appear in any production stills, and in some home releases, it's missing entirely. Peter Jackson never commented. Fans still argue whether it was an editing glitch or something that simply wasn't supposed to leave the set. In a trilogy built on myth and legend, one legend might have written itself. The Passion of the Christ, 2004. Pain was scripted, the watcher wasn't. During the brutal scourging sequence, Christ is bound to the pillar, soldiers shouting. But in the corner, behind a cracked column, something faint moved. A figure, pale and silent, half hidden in shadow. Mel Gibson called it a symbolic presence. But the shadow doesn't match any actor, nor the wardrobe of Satan's scenes. In early festival screenings, it wasn't there. It appeared only in later cuts. Lighting experts insist it's not possible the light falls wrong. The shadow shouldn't exist. But it does, in several releases, unmistakably human. A story about faith and suffering, and something else quietly watching from the dark. 3 colors. Red, 1994. When coincidence defines a story, an unexplained face becomes destiny. Valentine walks through a quiet Geneva street at dusk. The world feels perfectly composed, symmetrical, still. Yet in one apartment window above her, a man appears. He doesn't move. He isn't lit by the same light. He's just there, staring down. Kieslowski was known for intention, every reflection, every symbol deliberate. But the production confirmed the window was meant to be empty. The man doesn't appear in any shot before or after. He exists only in that one frame. Some call it a lucky accident, a visual metaphor that the film never asked for. Others say it's simply evidence that the camera records more than what the crew sees. In a film about invisible connections, maybe one of them wasn't fiction. Signs, 2002. Sometimes the scariest part of a horror film is the moment that feels real. In Signs, tension hides in silence. Then comes the birthday party footage, a shaky camcorder view of children laughing in the daylight until a tall, gray shape strides past the alley. It's not running. It's not chasing. It's just there. The scene shocked audiences, not because it was loud or grotesque, but because it didn't look staged. For years, Shyamalan said it was a carefully designed moment, but the VFX department quietly disagreed. That particular shot wasn't on the render list. New model, new file, new post-production note. When slowed down, the figure's movement doesn't match the other alien scenes. The light doesn't align. Even its texture seems different, almost too natural for CGI. Maybe the film didn't create the creature. Maybe it caught it. Back to the Future Part 2. 1989. The future was bright until someone appeared who shouldn't exist. Amid the futuristic streets of 2015, Marty McFly walks through crowds of extras, surrounded by noise and color. But frozen behind the motion, one woman stands perfectly still, eyes fixed on the camera, unblinking. She doesn't move, doesn't react. Her clothing doesn't match the production's wardrobe. Her name isn't on any call sheet. And when fans noticed years later, she was already gone, digitally erased from newer editions. No one has explained who she was. Maybe a bystander wandered onto set. Or maybe she was never there in the first place, except in that one version of the film that somehow captured her. In a movie about rewriting time, maybe the film itself caught someone left behind. The Wizard of Oz, 1939. In a world of make-believe, one image felt too real. During a joyful scene in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy and her companions stroll through the forest, singing. But if you look deep into the background, beyond the trees, something hangs from a branch. Dark, motionless. For decades, audiences debated it. Some said it was a bird spreading its wings. Others swore it was something much darker, an accident captured forever on film. MGM stayed silent. Later, remasters adjusted the lighting, softening the image, blurring the background entirely. But the rumor never died. The Hanging Man of Oz became one of cinema's oldest urban legends, proof that even in Technicolor, shadows still exist. In a story built on fantasy, one moment refused to play along. Three Men and a Baby, 1987. It was filmed as a comedy, but one shot changed its legacy. The scene looks harmless. Ted Danson walks across a sunlit apartment, a smile on his face. But behind a thin curtain, half in shadow, stands the outline of a small boy, still, silent, and never meant to be there. The studio later claimed it was just a cardboard cutout of Danson's character, a forgotten prop accidentally left on set. But that explanation didn't sit right. The figure's height, proportions, and posture didn't match the real cutout used elsewhere in the film. Rumors spread fast. Some said the apartment was haunted. Others insisted Disney quietly edited the shot in later home releases, which only made it worse. Because the original VHS, still circulating online, shows the figure clearly, standing where no one should be. A comedy that accidentally filmed something no one could laugh about. The Others, 2001, when silence becomes the story, even a whisper feels like evidence. The Others is built on restraint, a film of stillness, of pauses, of rooms that seem to breathe on their own. But during one quiet hallway scene, something slips through. Grace, Nicole Kidman, passes a door, candlelight trembling. Then, almost too soft to notice, a voice whispers. It doesn't belong to any actor. It isn't listed in the script. And it isn't present in every version of the film. Sound engineers claimed no external noise. The track was clean. Yet, in certain mixes, under the ambient hum, a child's voice can be heard rasped, calm, almost pleading, "I'm still here." Amenabar never confirmed its source. The master file archived by the studio contains a short note in pencil. Unlogged track leave untouched. A story about the dead refusing to move on, and one of them might still be speaking.